through the upper windows and silky curtains, drawing her attention to the room's altered appearance. The tasteful antiques had been replaced with huge casks of coins, coffers stuffed with jade and gold jewelry, and ornate statuary carved with lions, tortoises, and ravens. A prickle of awareness shot down her back. The shadows looked alive. As she watched, they began to twist and quiver, joining together, growing thicker. She shuddered, trying to wake herself up, to escape the dream walk before her body remained dead forever. Her heart filled with dread as she felt an irresistible tug toward the light coming from one of the anterooms. She attempted to resist the impulse, but she kept moving toward the light. The anteroom door was made of paper fixed to latticework. The smell of Echion was everywhere, and it horrified her. The shadows in the hall were pulling together faster, coalescing into a huge, beastly shape. Her fear multiplied when a pair of slitted yellow eyes opened. It was Echion's shadow dragon. As she reached the paper-thin door, she passed through it, and noticed that the paper rippled slightly as she did. She could almost feel it, which made a shivering sensation go through her. G.D. Majia was working intensely at a desk. She'd not seen him since the fall of Sajinao, but his pale skin and white hair were unmistakable. Like her, he had the winter sickness, except her hair had turned a rusty amber, a transformation that marked her as the Phoenix chosen. Beneath the scent of Echion, she sensed the bite of sadness. The steward wasn't seated at the desk. He stood over it. A large white paper lay before him, next to a collection of ancient scrolls. He had a paintbrush in his hand, glistening with an oily black substance. On the white sheet, he had drawn 3 rows of glyphs. As Bingmei watched him painstakingly finish another one, she saw the last stroke smudge. He gritted his teeth in frustration and crumpled the whole sheet, tossing it onto the floor, where she saw a mound of other similar failures. With a sigh, he mopped his sweaty brow on his sleeve and started again, poring over one of the ancient scrolls and retracing its sigils, stroke by stroke. She felt the darkness gather behind the light of the oil lamps. She could hear the scratch of claws on the marble floor, the dragging of scales. The dragon was coming. "Chiti Majia," Bingmei whispered. Nothing changed. He continued to pucker his brow and retrace the glyphs. What was this? Although she'd drawn the glyph that had awakened the Dark Lord, she hadn't been in control of herself. She'd never seen anyone else draw a glyph, or even try. It was best to be cautious when it came to the ancients' magic. No one knew what might summon the killing fog. Echion had clearly brought back a lost art. Or was G.D. Majia copying the scrolls in the dark of night because he'd stolen them? "G.D. Majia, the dragon is coming!" She reached her ghost hand out and tried to touch his arm, but her hand passed through him. He was oblivious to her presence. In short order, he had retraced several of the glyphs, his arm moving in a delicate fashion, pausing every so often to dip the brush again into the black oil. Bingmei wanted to go. She saw yellow glowing eyes through the paper door, but she could not, nor could she force herself to return to her body. "G.D. Majia!" The door slid open, and Echion stood beyond it. She had expected to see the snout and fangs of the dragon, but she sensed they were one and the same. 2 essences fused together. He was both beautiful and terrible to look at. Tall and muscular, but graceful. His long pale hair was loose around his shoulders. He wore a black silk dressing gown embroidered with gold